think they're gonna love this one.
Man, everyone's got their Leviathan box.
Oh, I really want to see those Tyranid sculpts. They look sick.
Well, I've got some good news for you.
No.
Yes!
Oh yes!
It's 10th edition tabletop time!
So finally, Senpai Games Workshop noticed us. And that means we're going to be getting some really cool stuff occasionally ahead of release. Now, we did get in a little bit late on the piece for Leviathan. We are still excited to make the best 10th edition launch tabletop time possibly could. We're super pumped, and in this video, we're going to go through our plans, what each of us hopes to accomplish with 10th edition, what we're going to build, what we're going to release, and what's in this box. You've probably seen that already.
But we get to look inside the box for real, so we're hyped for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Raw. I see
Nids.
Dreadnought, Librarian, what I think is the worst sculpt in the box.
Some fighting words.
Seeing the new gaunts in person. Oh, it's like they're not crap.
Imagine how good they'd look with some scything talons on them though.
Middest flame guys ever.
Yeah,
Face
that's
rings.
Marines.
More gaunts. More gaunts.
More
Terminator.
Termies.
They're so chunky. I'd love to see how one of these stands up against a Chaos Terminator.
The two heroes in one sprue. You got your captain and your winged tyrant.
Look how small. They're smaller than I thought they were.
Yeah.
They're way smaller than like a Termagon. I didn't realize that. Look how diminutive they are next to even a Termagon.
So tiny.
Itty bitty.
I like them more now. What have you got there, Jen?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
Terminators. Gravis armor.
Kind of looks like a funky zoanthrope like that, without the gun on its side. Spike gaunt.
Really?
Biovore, not Biovore.
And now what I'm excited for, the Warhammer logo.
Our favorite.
No, it's the Leviathan rulebook. Oh, there's some. Ooh. Decide the fate of the world. There's a global campaign. They're always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, we got bases. We got a nice new transfer sheet.
Ooh, data cards.
These are cool. They're starting to put like gold in them and stuff. That's really
Yeah.
nice. I'm really excited to look at these. The mission cards, which every mission is now randomly generated, which is really exciting. And I'd love to go through this entire deck of cards and look at every single one of them. Instructions.
I like the slip. This is new.
The seal of triumph and approval. Ooh. Oh, are these the combat patrol rules? These are what's in the combat patrol. Does that mean there's a Chaos Knights combat patrol? Come on, give me 3 Warglaves or something. I want to play combat patrol with knights.
No.
No!
Maybe it's in the here, in like.
No,
knights.
there's no knights combat patrol. You can't play knights in combat patrol. Well, I'm really keen. So we ready to share and do something together?
Yeah.
No.
Where are you going?
Oh well, we're gonna build our stuff.
I got a lot of Tyranids, dude.
I got heaps of Space Marines.
See ya.
man.
Launching straight into my half of the box, I was immediately drawn to the Neuro Tyrant, which is just such a cool and creepy big jellyfish that I just had to start with it. And I have to say, the requirement for actually needing glue is becoming less and less. It's quite impressive. But of course, I'm going to glue all of this together as I wanted to be a bit hardier than something that could just fall apart. What I'm not going to do with all these though is glue them onto the bases. I'm going to have them on the bases for some temporary display purposes. Of course, to match the rest of my Tyranids, I'm going to do custom bases for them. Maybe I'll make some tweaks to some of them that I've already built here. I don't know, we'll see. Everything is very new and shiny and honestly kind of gorgeous despite being horrific Tyranids, so I'm quite keen to see them in their completely vanilla and fresh state. One very small thing I'm tempted to do immediately is to equip some of the Termagants with some of my old Hormagaunt arms. That is a very quick swap and something that is becoming more and more tempting every time I think about it. So perhaps I will go that route. Regarding Gaunts though, one thing I was happy to note is that they are still on 28mm bases, so I don't need to change anything with my existing models. So I've just been building some of the Tyranids. There's a lot of sprues here. I think every set of starter editions for Warhammer, whether it's 40k or Sigmar, every time they seem to up their game and just pack more and more things into the set. I really like these little, just the little Neuro Gaunts and the Neuro Titan. They're really nice, awesome centerpiece models. Tyrant anyway. I have lots of plans for painting this whole set. If you keep following the channel, hit the subscribe button, you will see what I do with the entire Tyranid range in this set. So stay tuned for lots of that. I'm also personally just really excited to play all the other armies that I have. Over the previous months, Games Workshop has teased how each faction will work and their sort of faction-based mechanic, and it's been really interesting to see how each one is put forward to the community. I have my Farside Enclaves at home. Really interested to see a Mon-Car rule, and hopefully I will, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot of Tau with my friends. I've also got my Steel Legion, lots of tanks. I'm thinking of adding some of the new Sentinels and maybe even some Armigers, because Dave keeps going off his nut about Titans and Knights, and it's very infectious. Yeah, it's just awesome time to be into the hobby. I've also got Lizardmen, but we're not talking about fantasy right now. This is all about 10th edition 40k. I just have lots of ideas for what I can do with Tyranids. I have to focus on this set. So join me for a later video. You'll see even more.
Hey everyone, I wanted to briefly interrupt this video just to let you all know, some of you who joined Tabletop Time right at the start remember this original channel as a roleplay channel, and a lot of roleplay channel content was hosted here, including the first season of my first campaign on Tabletop Time, Reboot.exe. We love the roleplay content that we make, and we make it over on Tabletop Time Roleplay right now. Season 2 of Reboot is coming to an end, and it's the last time we're playing in that setting that really relaunched Tabletop Time. So we've made a fun little cyberpunk themed TTT shirt. So if you're into those things, those magenta and blue neon lights, please consider supporting the channel and picking up one of those shirts. And we're gonna be making a bunch more merch going forward. It's something we don't do enough of, and we have some awesome designers in-house. So if you've got ideas for cool merch you'd love to see, please let us know. For the amount of people working here, we are a relatively small YouTube channel in the grand scheme of things, and every little bit helps out the production. So please consider supporting us by purchasing some of our merch on the web store, or perhaps some of our 3D model designs if you're so inclined. We also have signed staff posters for our Reboot campaign. These gorgeous artworks that Alicia has done, and these are also going to be available on a last chance basis, because once Reboot ends, we're taking them off the store. But now let's get back to the Leviathan fun.
The 10th edition is here and I am super excited. I've been around for a couple editions now, and this one has got some really interesting touches to it. So the Leviathan box has half Tyranids and half Space Marines. I've painted Raven Guard before for another army for a friend, and I actually really enjoyed the experience, but I'm really excited to get my hands on these new Marines. And even better yet, I have a brilliant plan for these Space Marines. I think I'm gonna turn them into Space Bears. That's right, I think Space Bears need their own army, and Jazza needs something to play with. So what better kit than this to kick off his army? So if you're new to Tabletop Time and you haven't seen us do any of the Space Bears stuff before, we'll put the cards at the top so you can have a look at some of the awesome stuff we've made. But I want to turn the entire Space Marine range into Space Bears. And these guys are pretty cool, and bears are my favorite animals, so I'm really excited to do this project. This means changing their shoulder pads and their helmets, as well as adding some fur on top of them. And the special characters will get some extra special love as well. So when it came to building the Leviathan box, I'm no stranger to building these model kits. One thing I have noticed as time has passed is the push to fit system that they have for their boxes. I think this is really good if you're new to the hobby and might be worried about gluing things and making a mistake, but there is a big flaw in this system. I find that sometimes the pegs that they have allow you to push fit the models can sometimes easily be cut off. However, I do feel like this time around they have made it pretty obvious where these pegs are. This means that you're less likely to cut them off accidentally and not be able to put your model together. I definitely recommend that when you cut out your pieces, just to go over the top of the sprue to cut out more than what you think you might need. Therefore, it allows for any room for error. So in order to create the Space Bears that we want to do later on for another video, I had to make a few changes to these models. First being that their arms are not glued in. We need to cut their shoulder pads off, and unfortunately Games Workshop have changed it that the shoulder pads are not separate. Instead, they're one big piece. But again, these aren't glued in, we can pull these out later. The other change I had to make was to their heads. Space Marines come in a variety of faces and helms, but we're going to change these all completely for the Space Bears. Something I've noticed that they've started to implement with this kit is that their heads are on a particularly long peg. This means that when you build your Space Marine, you're actually meant to put the head into the body, and for the conversion this isn't going to work. So instead I cut this peg off and just blue tacked the head in for now. Again, we're going to change these later, so I needed to make sure that these weren't glued in and I could take them out. Other than that, I'm a huge fan of the push fit system. I think everything went in pretty flawlessly with only a few little gaps here and there. The Space Marines also seem to come with less mold lines than I remember, which is fantastic as they tend to be quite flat in some areas. I think it's notorious that most Space Marines have the ugly mold line on their feet, but this only had 1 or 2 models that had that particular mold line. So now that 10th edition is out, I am super excited to start playing some Warhammer 40k. As you guys know, I've been collecting Sisters of Battle for quite a while now, and I almost have enough to make a combat patrol. This means I'm able to play games, and Sisters have some really cool rules. Another army I've also really wanted to try out is the Drukhari. Again, as you guys know, it was my original army to start with, and I think that they also have some interesting rules that I'd like to try out. And lastly, we're up to making the Captain, which I think this model is pretty cool. It makes a pretty awesome standout piece to this army. So yeah, all of these models are really cool. I was really happy building them and putting them together, and I'm super excited to turn them into Space Bears, but we'll see that in another video.
So with Murray and Jen tackling the minis from this Leviathan box, I got to grips with the rules. And as a studio, we hadn't been enjoying where 40k was, and we're all really stoked for 10th edition. All the changes seem to be things that we're interested in. A simplification of rules, less lethality across the board, and a reduction of so many magic special mega abilities that combine in interesting and wacky ways. And with this excitement, I'm pleased to announce our next battle report, which is going to be the Space Bears versus Murray's Tyranids. We started this narrative way back in our Kill Team Battle Report, where my Tau, which if you haven't seen, is really fun and showcases the style that we're going for in the future. My Tau faced off against Jazz's Space Bears, and at the end of the game unleashed the horrifying Tyranids that were buried beneath the ice. Those Tyranids are going to be trying to swamp and destroy the Space Bears as they try desperately to escape. You know, to get some reinforcements. This battle report will be focusing on flavor, narrative, voice acting, and custom art, and we're really trying to make a spectacle more than a play-by-play sports event. We really hope you stay tuned and look forward to that video as much as we do. But not only that, once the dust is settled, the next battle report we do is actually going to be Combat Patrol. A long time ago, we pitched that Jen's sisters would fight my Traitor Guard in a Kill Team battle on the Cathedral. And we've decided to take that and escalate it all the way up to a Combat Patrol game. Now, when we can get that done is going to depend entirely on your reaction to the next battle report. If you love it and the hype is there and we get a whole bunch of views, likes, and subscribers, we'll get that out a bit quicker. But if not, it may just take a few more months to get that made. So make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the 10th edition stuff that's going to be happening. So I will say, originally we had planned on doing a lot more for our first video. I'm really surprising out of the gate with Leviathan, but we're late to the piece. We only have received Leviathan today and everyone's already got their videos out. So while we're behind, we're gonna try and catch up with some really cool content, and I hope you can enjoy it. And thanks to watching this video and supporting it, you have also helped buy us time to produce the next two, as we've already gotten to take the opportunity to start working on these models. But enough from me and the plans for the channel in the future. I think we should all get together and summarize what we've learned today and what we're most excited about for the next year of Warhammer. Thank you as always to our Patreons. You allow us to make the 2 videos a week that we so cherish delivering to you. If you like looking up from your cereal bowl and seeing us in the morning as you get ready for work, well, you know how to make it happen. Consider joining our Patreon. Do it. All your support really does make a difference. It's literally what keeps us in a job. Rah!
Rah.
So what did you think? You got to play with the models, I didn't.
There's a lot of models. There's a lot of models.
You've been wanting to work on your Tyranids for like 6 months at least, so hey, there's new Tyranids, which is pretty exciting.
Woo!
So expect in the upcoming weeks a lot of 40k content from Tabletop Time. Murray, what are you most excited about?
All the characters that have sort of come out of nowhere. We've got the big monsters and we've got the Neuro Tyrant, which I love. It's so cool.
Jen?
I'm gonna make some Space Bears, and I'm super excited because I love bears, and I think the Space Bears are really cool.
Is that really what you're most excited about for 10th edition?
I mean, I kind of want to finish my sisters, but you know.
You know it. And I gotta finish my Traitor Guard, which is gonna be really exciting. But first, the awesome models from Leviathan, which means Space Bears and Tyranids. And
What do you like the most, Dave?
Well, I really like two things. One, that the lore of 40k is finally moving. I spent most of my life where it was a stagnant setting, and that's cool and all, but I do like the little additions over time and all the little changes. From a models perspective, I'm super pumped that they announced that all the codexes coming out in the future are going to come with model releases. So even if it's just a single model, it's nice to know that we're going to see little bits of flavor change. Every time a new codex drops, we get to see a new model, which adds to the world of Warhammer.
It's something to look forward to with every release.
So if you'd like all the news, all the good videos, and all the stuff, it's coming out in the next 2 weeks. Make sure you subscribe, please, and like. So thanks for watching. We're hyped to share it with you.
Goodbye!
Gotta build some models.